All right, there we go. All right, all right. We're talking cult films. Michael Jai White. What was he? He was in Spawn for one thing, and not to mention some other flicks too. Don't Be a
I
Menace.
liked that Swan movie too.
I liked it a lot. It's considering it was made years ago before the big budget movies were available, and they would have made the super, the really super special effects the way we know now. Princess Bride, like the Princess Bride, was it really a cult film? It was like I think a lot of people. Yeah, I guess it is kind of. Some big stars were in it. I guess so. Buckaroo Banzai. Okay, all right, yeah, yeah. All right, rollerball. There we go. Here's one. Rollerball. That's back in the day. All right, the first thing we're going to talk about is for folks who are watching the What's Good segment after I clip it out, I don't know what the hell we talked about. From a couple of weeks ago, this was a penultimate book called Pastime by Joe Harris and Russell Olson. This is about a baseball player vampire. Yes, who are the best things possible. This is the B
Yes,
cover here.
please.
This is from Mad Cave Studios. He put out a whole bunch of good stuff. This begins
Great
in
book.
yes, yes. This begins in 1988 at Wrigley Field, of all places. So it couldn't be more of a favorite book of mine. You know what I'm saying? It just comes all out. The first night game at Wrigley Field. There's this reporter that's showing about a bar in Wrigleyville, and the first night game is about to get rained out. That's the only reason that there's like a seat in a bar in Wrigleyville. There's all kind of fire codes being violated. Trust me. There's like never a seat in any bars around Wrigleyville during game time, but during rainouts there might be. So I'll allow it this time. And he's being this old black gentleman who was like he lost his eyesight way back in the day. He's got to be, this is 1988, so he's got to be like maybe like in his 70s or something like that. And he played during the barnstorming era. You should say he played in the Negro leagues, and in the barnstorming era when people would just play teams against teams, and they're just like kind of like exhibition games. This is where the black players would play against the white players, and it'd be no color line with those people. So he was like a groundskeeper since he had lost his eyesight, and he's speaking with this reporter in the bar, and he wants to talk to him about the greatest baseball player that no one's ever heard of. And of course, that baseball player was an unknown fellow who may have been a murderer. I mean, he was a vampire for sure, so he probably is a murderer. But this is how the older black gentleman ran into him. He was the groundskeeping during the first nighttime baseball game back in 1923. Oh, this is like I think when they first were experimenting with lights in the minor leagues, and the black guy saw him like out in the bushes, and he was looking for one of the balls because he had to retrieve all the balls. It's a damn shame. You're losing your sight. You got to retrieve the balls at nighttime. That's a tough job. So he runs into this guy and he lets him go. It's like, okay, well, don't, I'm not pretend I didn't see you. Literally didn't see you, but he still has some of his eyesight in. So he was blind enough not to be able to play baseball, but he still had some sight to explain that more thoroughly. So he lets this, he pretends he doesn't see this guy. And a couple of nights later, when the black guy is in this bar, leaving this bar drunk, drinking and drowning his sorrows about how he never got to play to pitch in the majors, even the Negro leagues, because he lost his sight. He's getting beat up in this alley by these three guys, and all of a sudden, the guy from the other night appears and just commences kicking all three of those guys' asses and tears them literally apart. So this is the guy. I mean, he has an interest in baseball. The murderer / vampire guy. So apparently there's going to be a point in the story where this guy is just going to like use his vampire abilities in the game of baseball, but he can't do it, in the majors because the majors they don't have lights yet. So they were just experimenting with this thing back in the barnstorming days. So it's really a setup issue, as most of these first issues are, and And the very end of the story, I'm not sure if the older black gentleman is also a vampire because the reporter turns around and everybody in the bar is gone. Like the bar is just empty. Like, did I imagine all this or what? So we got to wait till next issue to see what's going to happen with this baseball playing vampire and how it affects the present day because the reporter is like very interested in this player for some reason because he may be still alive. So based on that and my love of the game, I will pick up number 2, A Pastime, whenever it comes out from Mad Cave.
That sounds dope, actually, especially if you're a baseball fan. Sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
for sure. No, I am. All right, we're coming. That would be Mad Cave, Phil. Mad Cave Studios made Pastime. Oh, Aggressively. What's up, Aggressively? Well, awesome.
Somebody's definitely getting stuck. I would assume so. Yeah.
At some point in time, if that doesn't happen, then we've missed an opportunity here. All right, more. Wellboard's got the Warriors. I want all the Warriors. The Warriors, and there was another movie, Knockoff. I don't know if it was a knockoff so much, but it was kind of like the Warriors called The Wanderers. If anybody remember that, I mean that's like even way more obscure than the Warriors. The Warriors was actually kind of cool. It was very cool actually. All right, the next book. This was what we call an archive edition. This is an archive edition from Boom Studios. They put out a few other archive edition books too. Right now they're focusing on James Tynion. The other one was Memetic, which is really, really good. That was an archive edition. This one is The Woods by James Tynion, the fourth, and Michael Dianalysis. Or Dianalis? Not dialysis. Dianalis.
Dialinus?
How you say that again?
I'm not sure. I think it's Dialinus, though, but I'm not sure.
Let's go with that. All right. Okay. So by those two people who also worked on Wind. So this may be their maybe their first collaboration. This was
I think it is. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, many years ago. Not quite sure when, but this is a reprint because I guess probably the real number one is probably a little more pricey, but maybe not. But maybe it's one like
I don't think it's that pricey.
Probably more than cover price though, right? You think?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, like it's out of reach, but it's like this is for those who missed it. It's kind of like a classier, version of a one of those image first kind of a thing, maybe out of better paper and so forth. And this one, it takes place in a high school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. James T loves the Midwest. He must be from the Midwest or something.
Yeah, he's from Wisconsin.
Oh, there you go. There you go. The Deviant was in Wisconsin too. Yeah. So I think the little house.
Something is killing the children also starts in Wisconsin.
Yep. A nice house by the lake. At a lake by a mountain in Wisconsin. Go figure. I'd love to see that mountain in Wisconsin, but that's another story. But anyway, this takes place in a high school in Wisconsin. And it's just another day in high school. The kids are just talking about, oh shit, I missed my last chance to apply for college. My mom's gonna kill me and all kind of shit that means a whole lot to you when you're a kid. Doesn't really a whole lot in life in general. And the principal is catching this kid who's running around streaking. So maybe this was like in the 80s. The streak is not really a thing now. I can imagine streaking being like, something that would get you like, put in prison at this point in this society. So this got to be probably, I would say, a few years ago, not in the present day. And all of a sudden, there's this big disturbance outside, big flash of light, and boom, this whole high school is transported to what looks like another planet somewhere else. Clearly somewhere else, but like, what the hell? I mean, how do we get here? Because you look out the window, and then there are these creatures flying around, and there's like a ringed planet where the moon should be, and it's like 10 times bigger, and several other planets you can see. So like, what the hell? I guess you don't have to worry about college anymore, huh? All right, so now these group of nerds inside the school decide like, you know what? We're trapped on the planet here that who knows how the hell we got here, and we're gonna run out of supplies, we're gonna run out of food, there's a few hundred people here. God knows what's going to happen. It's going to be chaos. So the bravest among them, like 5 nerds here, the ones you see on the cover, most likely, this is kind of a mismatch crew of kids. They decide that we need to go out and into these woods, which suddenly appeared. Just like these alien type woods, and right in front of the woods, there's this not an edifice, but it's kind of like this slab that came out of nowhere, maybe like you wouldn't call that like an instruction manual or something, or is some kind of this thing right here. It's like maybe something that you need to, I don't know, communicate with the beings on this planet with, or whatever it is. These 4 kids? Yeah, these 5 kids decided to go out. We're going into the woods. That's the name, the woods. We're going to go out there because come on to explore. Because one of them is like this really genius kid, and he knows what's going on. And even though he's on a different planet, he's going to so everybody just follows him. So this was probably something I would have bought if I had known about this. Probably 20 years ago when it came out, or 15 years ago. I wasn't probably one of the lulls between collecting I was doing. But I didn't know about this book. So it was good to see this book and finally read it, because I'd heard about it and I didn't know much about it. Did you?
I have the trade. I started it, but I didn't finish it. So you reminded me that I need to go back to that one.
Yeah. It looks like an interesting concept, because nobody does like disaster and people's reaction to it better than James T. I think, and it's so, the dialogue is so real and believable. And him doing like this, almost like Freaks and Geeks on another planet, is very cool. Garth Lopez. And it's Roscoe. I didn't see Roscoe there. What's up, Roscoe?
Oh, homie.
And 90 miles from all that jazz.
Cuba, 90 miles from comics, 90 miles from Cuba.
Exactly. I don't know, Cuba. Good to see you, Roscoe, man. Let's see, I hope you're doing well, sir.
We miss Between the Lines. I know Lorenzo misses it too.
Yep, we all do, man. We all do. And the last thing from this abbreviated version of on this slow week with the man stepping on my toes here for too much music is Plague House. This is from Oni Press. Plague House #1 came out a couple of weeks ago. Even a Beckerman sighting. What's up, Beckerman? What's happening?
Wow, Beckerman's up late. What's up?
Yeah. So Plague House is written by Michael W. Conrad and illustrated and lettered by Dave Chisholm. All right, Plague House. This is probably my favorite thing I read. I didn't read a lot of stuff this week, and some stuff I read I didn't like that much, so it didn't make the what's good pile. This is about this team of 3 ghost hunters. One of them, they're kind of like the people that do ghost hunters on TV and they debunk stuff like that. One of them is this young woman who is just like a total skeptic. And you need the skeptics in the group because, you got to have somebody to offer that counterpoint and not just be drinking the Kool-Aid fully. So the first one is the skeptical woman, and he actually, the guy who's telling the story, he's narrating, refers to her as Agent Scully, but she's a Gen Xer, so he has no idea who the fuck Agent Scully is. It's just like, what are you talking about, But she's that kind of individual. The second one is this kid who's like from a really strict religious upbringing, and he thinks everything is to do with demons. And he's experienced exorcisms and things like that. So from him, everything is coming from a demonic point of view. It's about he carries the cross and everything, but he doesn't have a lot of confidence. Like some of the priests in the exorcist movies, they feel very confident in their power, but he seems to lack a lot of that confidence. And the third one is the guy who really believes in ghosts, and we're telling the story from his point of view. And they go to investigate this house, which was referred to as the Plague House, where a horrible thing has happened, which is most of the time where hauntings occur, where energy is stuck and just it repeats itself over and over again. In this house 13 years ago, this man came home and murdered everyone inside, and murdered his family, his wife, kids, his father, everybody. So damn. This house is fucked. Everybody, they're home. You see that crazy look on his face. like everybody at home is gonna get killed when the motherfucker comes looking like that. So it's like,
Damn.
okay, that's just curtains, and people looking at this is a horrible thing. That's why this kind of energy gets stuck in this kind of a space, and no one crosses them over in haunted house. Sometimes they're benevolent spirits. Sometimes they're just people. I mean, spirits that are lost. But anyway, at some point, this is the worst house they've ever experienced, and they flash forward at the end of the book. This is not a spoiler because he doesn't tell what happens in between time. There's a point where the Salton Sea 1 year later, he's walking around, he's got a beard, and he's walking through this graffitied house and everything, talking about this is where it all went wrong. Before I got caught, this thing happened. So some shit's gonna really go down with this house in the subsequent issues. Number 2 of this book is going to be on sale May 5th, is it? Yeah, May or sometime in May 2025. So within let's say a few weeks, it'll be on sale. And I will be definitely picking this one up too, because I love the narrative of this. I love the concept and the fact that they have this very balanced kind of a ghost hunting team that seems kind of cool. And it has a preview of a book which could be something worth checking out, called Dark Regards, Dark Regards, which looks like kind of a gothy, metally, supernatural kind of a punk music kind of a thing. So it looks like this is something else I might want to check out as well. If you like Plague House, you might like Dark Regards. So this is a good pickup here. Oni Press, Plague House #1. This is the B cover here with the ghosty lady on the front, and that's what's good. So thanks.
Very nice.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.